Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the situation report or the summary for the past 2 days for the 13th to the 14th of October for the day of 1328 to 1329. I haven't done the frontline changes report for the past day, so yeah, but the changes are actually in the mapping already, but I will do the frontline changes combined for tomorrow. So it will be a 2-day frontline changes report. And so this one, so that is why this report is now published on the main channel, but of course we put a collaboration to the war channel as well. Yeah, so same old. So we're gonna again we're gonna start from the southern flank again. So I find it like a bit more fresh rather than going from the north. So anyway, over in the Kherson front, this is the Kherson front. There is an interesting report from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry mentioning the Russians' attack towards Antonivka. I believe it's just simply the attack on at Dachi or towards Antonivka. Could be on the bridge. Maybe the bridge is now Dachi has been taken by the Russian forces and they have now pushing towards Antonivka across the bridge. I'm not sure. So they don't explain, so we do not know. The Russian Defense Ministry mentioned shelling at Antonivka, Sadove, Lvove, Mykolaiivka, as well as Tomarine. So that's the main report. So it's a bit of a revival of the Kherson front again. Previously has went so quiet that it seems like it's going to be thrown aside soon, but it looks like it's starting to go back to its old ways again. So we shall continue to monitor to see how this goes. We go on to the Zaporizhia front. Over in the Orikhiv and the Kayamsky sector. So this is Kayamsky, this is Orikhiv. In this sector, the Russian forces attack at Plavny, Stepnohursk, Kayamsky, Stepove, Mali Shebaki, as well as Novoandrievka. The main push is still as usual along the Dnieper River going up towards Zaporizhia. All these areas here are going to be straightened front line. These are all static battles. I don't expect too much from this sector because of the strong Ukrainian defenses in this area, which makes it too expensive or too pointless to go through. Since they already going to have a breakthrough through Stepnohursk into the next line, so they don't have to destroy this line. They just need to go behind it. So that's the main thing around in this sector. Over in the Huyaipole sector, still in the Zaporizhia front, this is Huyaipole. Fighting is mainly still continuing over on the eastern flank. There is fighting reported over in Novohrihorivka, Rybiny. This one is Krasnoherske, which is an interesting name. Krasnoherske, Privyone, shelling at Uspenivka. There is a geolocation of Russian forces advancing in the southeast of Novovasilivsky, and there's fighting reported at Potavka. The Battle of Potavka is ongoing. So far, no news regarding that. And the Russians are continuing their air battles to take out this chain of settlements, with the flanking operation mainly over in the north, trying to push through, as well as capturing the crossings around Novovasilivsky. So that is the main action around here. The main aim is to cut back into the rear positions, cut off the road of Huyaipole. That is probably what they're going to do, because Huyaipole is very strong. Is cutting into the rear, create this Pac-Man is going to do wonders. This is going to be the same situation at SDF right now in Pokrov, Minohrad. Same situation. It's the same tactic. It's basically the same old big arrow, flanking operations and circumvent kind of thing, which is pretty common in World War II. So we go on to the Komar front. This is Komar, and a big news coming from the Ukrainian mapping. They finally have given up this impossible salient. I already said many times, impossible salients are impossible, right? So so they finally acknowledge, and we finally can give the flag, that the Russian forces captured Komar as well as Perebudova. But clearly this is nonsensical, because it must have been captured a long time ago. So Russian forces have taken this chunk here. Otherwise, there is movement in the north of Novo-Ukrainka as well, fighting at Horikove, Dashne, Filia, Yalta, Ivanivka. Oleksandrov, Voskresenka, Vishneve, Melievka, Vorone, Sosnivka, Ternove. There's some this claim by the Ukrainians over there. Stepove, Oleksievka, Verabove, and Vishneve. And so then there's one more below. What is that? Novo Mykolaiivka. So there's a Novo Mykolaiivka behind in the south of here. So the general action is the same. The Russian forces are pushing west in the north of the Huaibole sector in the southern part of the Khomar front, going along the fortifications that is around here. There's a major fortification line. They're basically just bulldozing through the fortifications, and there is also a main chunk of clearing operation happening in these rear positions, which the Ukrainians continue to claim presence, but it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Russian forces pushing out from Sosnivka, and this push up of Oleksievka potentially is to flank around the big forest around Lisny. The line here is static, but there is this seeming push to improve the line around Horikove. So that's interesting. There's something new. The Ukrainian mapping updated something about Ivanivka, but their mapping change does not change our mapping at all. So yeah, that's some like a very, very belated update of the front line in that sector. Geolocation of Ukrainians getting hit by FPV was noted, and then Russian forces blow up the bridge at Perovsky. There is shelling reported around here, which means that they are trying to block the Ukrainians from traveling down. So that it seems to be an indication of intent by the Russians to basically take out this sector here. So so that is the main gist of the action in this area here. Let me push over here. You can see the lines that I've drawn here. So that is the Khomar front. So if you never watched the SITREP before, or you haven't watched it for a long time because you never subscribe over at DPA War, this is the kind of thing that I talk about on DPA War. So subscribe over on DPA War. You can click the channel name or channel icon below. You can actually see that you can subscribe on both sides. So we go on to the Pokrov front. So this is Pokrov, and this is Minohrad. So fighting is reported over in Kotyarivka, Muravka, Morodetsky, Udashne, Kotline, Vivrove, Pokrov, Novopalivka, Novoukrenka, Lisivka, Promin, Kozatsky, Balahan, Minohrad, Novoekonomichne, Sheveny Liman, Rudinsky, and shelling at Vasilivsky. There is major frontline changes in the east of Promin, and there's a geolocation confirming full advance by the Russian forces west of Kotyarivka. So the Russians seems to be trying to straighten the front line along the border. It's unclear if they will actually go more to capture Novopalivka. This is unclear. The area here seems to be static line. I don't expect too much from this sector. They might go for Kryshine. Previously they were trying to go out of this zone, but it doesn't seem to be very, very serious. Pokrov is straightened front line. There's a push to war up the southeast of Pokrov through Novopalivka. The Russians claim capture around there, so that is interesting. And the Russians also announced the capture of Balahan and Kozatsky as they try to establish the eastern wall on Minohrad. And this push to create a wall continues. So that is the Pokrov. And in the north, the Russians continue to try to hit to flank north of the northern flank of Minohrad, trying to push towards Kryshine as well. So wrong color. Yeah, trying to push towards Kryshine as well to force eventual Ukrainian withdrawal out towards the Dnipro-Petrov direction. So this operation continues. And so this is the Pokrov front. Moving further up north into the Evil Rabbit front, which is the Pokrov breakout zone, or also known as this the northern flank of the Pokrov front. So in this sector, Russian forces continuing from where we left off. They're fighting at Sukhetsky, Belitsky, Nikandorivka, Ivanivka, Novoshakove. There is geolocation confirming Russian advance towards Shakove from the southeast, fighting at Volodymyrivka, Sofievka, Toretske, and fighting at Poltavka and Rusinya. So, and towards Mykolaiv, and this part is already part of the Konstantinivka front. So the operation for the Russians to continue to eat up this chain of settlement continue. They are trying to take out this entire line of settlement along this salient, and then there is a secondary flanking operation. This one is moving to Propilia. There is multiple lines seemingly going. The main one seems to be Belitske, and otherwise this northern sector here continues to be a gray zone. This is continue to be a question mark. We do not know what the hell is happening there. So the front line here, just take it with a pinch of salt for now. So so that's the main gist of the action over in the Evil Rabbit front. We go on to the Konstantinivka front. So moving east. So let me adjust. Yep. So over the Konstantinivka front, we already mentioned Poltavka, Rusinya, fighting reported at Stepanivka, Yablonivka, Berestov, Skimbenivka, Torex, Plishevka, Ivanopilia, Alexandrov-Shutine, Priteshne, Stuposhki, as well as Konstantinivka. So the situation, the strategic situation is still as per routine. Is still as per the norm. The Russian forces are still trying to eliminate this opening here, which leads to Skibinivka, where the Ukrainians still have some forces over there. The Russians are trying to take it out and trying to push out. This area here is allegedly already under Russian control. They are trying to establish a war over at the Berestov region to create a southwest wall on Konstantinivka. There might be a push towards Mykolaiv, and the aim is to later go towards Alexeyevo-Druskivka, but this is a long-term goal, which they will then later will come from Varyubivka region, which is over here. But tentatively, this is still a bit long-term. They are creating the wall, the eastern wall on Konstantinivka with the pincer on Priteshne, trying to capture this position. And yeah, so mainly that's the main gist of the strategic situation over in the Konstantinivka front. And for those that are wondering, this is Torex. If you have been following Torex New York and Torex front, this is still Torex front. So so that's all. We move on further to the Bakhmut front. So this is Bakhmut, and the Bakhmut front, there is only a mention of Orikhovo-Vasilivka once on the 14th. So this is only one report, and that's all. Moving further up to the Liman-Siversk front. So this is Liman and Siversk. Liman is also known as lemon or crispy lemon. In Russian is Krasny Liman, so it's crispy lemon. So fighting is reported at Liman, Torske, Yampil, Dronivka, Serbianka, Hrihorevka, Siversk, Vimka, Zvanivka, Berezne, and Fedorivka. So the strategic situation also remains pretty routine right now, with the aim to capture Dronivka, flanking northern flanking operation north of Siversk. There's a attack towards Yampil and moving towards the south of Liman. And then there is this southern offensive coming up towards Siversk from the south in two different attacks, two different directions. So one through Vimka, the other one through the main chain of the settlements around here. So that's a strategic situation over in the Siversk front. Moving further up north, we go to the Oskil-Liman front. So this is Oskil. At Oskil-Liman front, fighting is reported over in Khrekivka, Ohievka, Karpivka, Starine, Shandri-Holove, Novoselivka, Drilove, Drubisheve, and Koloziazi. The main action here, also strategically the same. Static line in the north, potential push towards Oskil, but the push here seems to be very vague. Doesn't look like a very strong push. The main aim is still to capture Novoselivka to then later go towards Sviatohursk. And Stavky continue will be the main objective for the Russians. Not sure if they're actually pushing towards that. Probably through Kloziazi, that is a possibility. The Ukrainians also considered a big chunk of their this impossible salient here, in fact, encirclement, they have considered and said that it's captured by the Russian forces. So a lot of big concession from the Ukrainian mapping. So that's good. So we get closer to sensible mapping. We move further up north. So this is the strategic situation in Liman, and we go on to the Borova front. So this is Borova. Borova front fighting is reported at Bohuslavka, Novoplatonivka. Russian announced capture of Boriska and Andriivka. They say that this is captured, and they are pushing towards Shivkivka. If this is true, then the attack towards Borova might be coming very, very soon. But yeah, let's wait for verification. We don't have any verification for this claim of capture just yet. So we move on further to the Kupiansk front. This is Kupiansk city. At the Kupiansk front, fighting is reported at Kupiansk. Sadove is mentioned, probably an attack. After Russians probably coming from Sobolivka. That's a possibility. Fighting is reported at Petropavlivka, Pischane, and Kurilivka. So the main action seemingly to be the flanking operation north of Pischane. They might be going directly for Pischane. That's a possibility. Petropavlivka situation is always mentioned, but we do not know what is happening. Probably a static line, and the main action is the fighting in the battle for Kupiansk. So this is the main battle in this front line. So it's ongoing. No much news coming out. So that's all from the Kupiansk front. And there was a viral video of a Russian, in the Kupiansk front region, crawling through the tunnel or drainage pipe and what kind of pipe is that? And a wild boar just appeared behind him and run past him, scaring the hell out of him. So that's funny. So over in the Voreshna front, this is Voreshna. Fighting is reported at Zapadne, Kutkivka, Kanyamka, Bolehivka, Voreschansky, and Koloziasny. Further up north, there's no more other reports in the Milovoje sector. So this one's strategic situation remains the same. This is the corner. I call it the corner front. The Russians are trying to take out this front line with multiple attacks across this area here to create this strong foothold in the corner here. And the Russians are also trying to push out of Voreshna. So that's the main action in this sector. Nothing else in the Milovoje sector. We go on to the Kharkiv front. This is Kharkiv. In the Kharkiv front, the fighting is only in the Voschansk sector with battle within Voschansk, and Kharovsky is mentioned once by the Russians, probably shelling. There is a geolocation of missile strike on Ukrainian position, not super important. And we go on to the last front line, which is the Sumy front. So this Sumy, at the Sumy front, we have fighting reported over in Satki, Novosich, Verkine, Oleksievka, and Andriivka. Geolocation shows that the Ukrainians actually have taken half of Oleksievka. Their counterattack is actually more successful, but it also means that the Russians' buffer zone is doing its job, absorbing Ukrainian forces, taking their attacks and drawing attention away from other front lines. So it is working. Russians are not doing much here. This is just a buffer zone. They are no longer doing much attacks. If at most they are trying to take back Andriivka and Oleksievka, but it did not work out. So that's it. So anyway, this is the summary. So nothing else in the rest of the front lines, the rest of Ukraine. So this is the summary for the day of 1328 to 1329 for the 13th to 14th of October. Thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe to both channels, and I'll see you guys in the next update.